Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's had their coffee. Let me try that again. Morning, everybody. All right, honorable ministers of ICT and digital transformation and members of council, members of ECTEL's board of directors, alternate board members, chair of the board, Mr. Gregory Shillingford, director general of the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States, governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Secretary General of the Caribbean Telecommunications Union, staff of the OECS, World Bank, and other developmental partners, members of staff of ECTEL, chief executive officers and staff of the National Telecoms Regulatory Commissions of ECTEL states, representatives of service providers, consulting partners, members of the media, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning again. I am exceedingly pleased to welcome you all on behalf of the ECTEL team. And I wish to thank you for your participation in this event today. We are grateful to you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to participate in this launch with us, but we think you will agree by the end of the proceedings that it was for a worthy cause. Now, to avoid repetition of information you will shortly hear from others, and I might say also to avoid straining your patience, I am going to avoid substantive discussion of the results of the Digital Inclusion Survey in my brief remarks. Instead, I want to share with you that the publication of the survey today represents a significant milestone for ECTEL. As an institution, one of our goals is to become both a major repository and also disseminator of robust, reliable, expansive, and detailed statistical data and analysis on all aspects of ICTs in the ECTEL states. It is our institutional hope, and also, if I can say, a personal dream, that ECTEL should regularly publish critical information about electronic communications services in our markets that is of such high quality and reliability that it is frequently, reflexively, and confidently relied upon by governments, academics, operators, the public, developmental partners, and international organizations alike whenever such information about the sub-region is needed. We are, of course, already doing this with some regularity. We regularly publish our annual sector review, which is available on our website and which provides a focused snapshot of the electronic communications sector for each ECTEL state on an annual basis. But we confess today a grander vision, a grander ambition, which is to expand upon these efforts through the publication of even more sector-related information, and ultimately for ECTEL to be regarded as one of the finest institutions of its kind for producing relevant, reliable, and voluminous amounts of data and analysis about digital services for the countries it serves. Of course, our aim is to make this data accessible to the world. So with the publication of the Digital Inclusion Survey today, ECTEL takes a huge leap forward. It takes a huge leap in that direction. And my commitment to you is that it will not be the last step we take. The importance of relying on data for regulatory analysis and intervention cannot be overstated. It is sometimes difficult for the public to understand, but as regulatory authorities, ECTEL and the NTRCs cannot rule by fiat. We are not kings and queens capable of issuing decrees and edicts from on high. We are not sovereign governments with the wide powers to intervene when problems vex the public. We cannot regulate out of emotion or based on narrow political considerations, gut instincts, or anecdotal observation. Instead, the process of regulation must rely on objective facts and analysis. Regulation must be propelled and impelled by data and research. As a regulatory system, ECTEL and the NTRCs must take a data-driven approach to everything we do and every problem we are trying to solve. This takes time. It is slow. It is often painstaking. And often it means we are, by design and necessity, both behind public sentiment and also trying the public's patience. But I want to assure the members of the public who may be listening, and specifically the members of the public who may be listening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and in Grenada, and Dominica, and St. Kitts and Nevis, and yes, in St. Lucia too, that we are listening, and we have heard you, and we have never stopped, and will never stop, working on the problems that concern you most. Make no mistake, no matter what else is going on, no matter what else you may hear that ECTEL and the NTRCs are doing, ECTEL is always concerned, broadly speaking, about solving three major problems for the public. Those problems are high prices, poor service quality, and limited choice. I want to assure those members of the public who are still paying attention, we are working on these problems every day. We are investigating, deliberating, analyzing, and assessing the data required to arrive at sustainable solutions to these problems for every customer in the sub-region. By the very nature of what we do, the regulation necessary to solve these problems in a meaningful and sustainable way for customers and for the operators will take time. And this time is necessary. It cannot be rushed. But I want to give the public our assurance the regulation required to ameliorate these problems is coming. In closing, I want to impose on you just a brief moment more to say a special thank you to my team for the incredible work they've put into the organization of this event, and also into pulling together the Digital Inclusion Survey. I want to thank our partners, the World Bank, the team at the OECS, and in particular Mr. Imran Williams of the Project Implementation Unit, as well as Mr. Edwin St. Catherine and his firm for their incredible support. I want to thank the chairman of the board and the other members of the board for their steadfast support and stewardship through this process, and also recognize all who participated in the survey or who contributed in some way to the execution of the survey. I do especially want to thank and single out members of my own team, starting with Brenda, McLean, Owana, Coretta, Olson, Tim, and Janelle, for the incredible work, for the hard work involved in making this occasion a success and making this occasion happen. And finally, I want to say a special thanks to the impressive, incredible women of the Economics and Finance team at ECTEL, Ms. Rochelle Brathwaite, Mrs. Grace Herman Jules, and Mrs. Ferdil Felix Polius for their incredible discipline and steadfastness. But I must also highlight the incredible contribution of Mrs. Cheryl Hector Fontenelle, who leads that team, and thank her for her professionalism and leadership in guiding this process and the publication of the Digital Inclusion Survey results today. I am incredibly proud of this team and this organization, and I congratulate you all on this achievement. I want to thank each of you for everything you've done, for not just for today, but for everything you do on behalf of this great organization we serve every single day. Ladies and gentlemen, with those brief remarks, I thank you.